Have you ever felt like you're drowning, not in water, but in your own thoughts? That feeling when your chest gets tight, your breath catches, and the world feels like it's spinning out of control. It's a terrifying, lonely place to be. What if I told you there's an ancient story, thousands of years old, about a man who literally started to drown? Not because the storm was too strong, but because his fear was. This isn't just a story about a fisherman named Peter. It's a story about you, about me, about anyone who's ever felt swallowed by anxiety. Stick with me, because what happened on that stormy lake has the power to change how you see your own struggles. Let's set the scene. Imagine a group of ordinary guys, fishermen mostly, tough and weathered from a life on the water. Their leader, Jesus, had just performed an incredible miracle, feeding a crowd of thousands with just a handful of food. The energy was electric, but instead of basking in the glory, Jesus does something unexpected. He tells his closest friends, his disciples, to get into their boat and sail across the Sea of Galilee without him. He says he needs some time alone to pray. So, they obey. They push off from the shore, the buzz of the crowd fading behind them, leaving them in the quiet of the approaching twilight. One of these men is Simon, whom Jesus nicknamed Peter. Peter is not a quiet, contemplative type. He's impulsive, passionate, all in one moment and full of doubt the next. He's the guy who speaks before he thinks, the first to jump into action. He loves Jesus fiercely, but his heart is often a battlefield of faith and fear. As they sail away, they probably felt confident. This was their turf. The sea was their office. They knew its moods, its currents, its every secret. A little night sailing? No problem. Or so they thought. As night deepens, the mood shifts. The sky, once clear, turns a bruised purple-black. The gentle lapping of waves against the hull becomes a violent slapping. The wind starts to howl, a mournful, angry sound that whips the water into a frenzy. This isn't just a storm, it's a tempest. Their small wooden boat is tossed around like a toy. Waves crash over the sides, soaking them, chilling them to the bone. Every creak of the wood sounds like it's about to splinter and break. For hours, they fight, they bail water, they wrestle with the sail, their muscles screaming in protest. Exhaustion sets in, but fear is a stronger stimulant. They are miles from shore, in total darkness, in the middle of a raging storm. Hope begins to drain away with every bucket of water they throw overboard. This is that feeling of anxiety, isn't it? When you're doing everything you can to stay afloat, fighting with all your might, but the storm inside your head just keeps getting stronger. You feel isolated, exhausted, and desperately alone in the dark. The disciples were professionals, but even their expertise was failing them. Sometimes, our own coping mechanisms, our own strength, just isn't enough when the storm of anxiety hits. They were at the mercy of something far bigger and more powerful than they were. And that's when they see it. Sometime between 3 and 6 in the morning, the darkest part of the night, a figure appears. It's moving toward them, on the water, not in a boat, walking on the churning, chaotic waves as if it was solid ground. Panic erupts. Their minds, already frayed from fear and exhaustion, jump to the only possible conclusion. It's a ghost, a phantom of the sea. They cry out in sheer terror. The storm outside was bad enough, but now a supernatural horror has joined them. This is the moment in an anxiety attack where your mind starts playing tricks on you, where every shadow is a monster. You can't trust your own senses. The thing you fear most seems to be materializing right in front of you. But then, a voice cuts through the wind, a voice they know better than their own. Take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid. It's Jesus. The relief must have been overwhelming, washing over them like one of the waves. But for Peter, relief isn't enough. In a rush of impulsive faith, the kind that only Peter has, he yells back, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." It's a wild, audacious request. Who asks to get out of the boat in the middle of a hurricane? Peter does, and Jesus simply says, "Come." So he does it. Peter swings his leg over the side of the boat, his bare feet touching the raging sea, and for a moment, the impossible happens. He's standing on the water, He takes a step, and another, his eyes locked on Jesus. The wind is still screaming, the waves are still crashing, but in that moment, none of it matters. There's only him and the one who called him out of the boat. Can you imagine the exhilaration? The sheer wonder of doing something that defies every law of nature. He's literally walking on his fears. This is that moment of clarity, that brief window in a panic attack where you feel like you might actually have control, where you feel a surge of strength you didn't know you had. But then, he makes a fatal mistake. He breaks his gaze. Maybe a particularly large wave swells up beside him, or a gust of wind nearly knocks him over. He looks away from Jesus and looks at the storm. He remembers where he is. He remembers how strong the wind is, how high the waves are. He remembers that people don't walk on water. And in that instant, his faith evaporates and is replaced by a flood of terrifying reality. His feet, which were just moments ago standing on the impossible, suddenly sink. The cold water engulfs his ankles, his knees, his waist. He's going down. The raw terror of drowning grips him, and he does the only thing he can. He screams, "Lord, save me!" It happens in a split second. The moment the words are out of his mouth, a hand grabs his. It's a strong hand, a firm grip that pulls him up from the churning water, breaking the surface, allowing him to gasp for air. It's Jesus. He's right there. He never moved. He was there the whole time. As Peter stands there, dripping, gasping, half-drowned and completely humbled, Jesus looks at him. There's no anger. No, I told you so. Just a gentle, searching question. You of little faith, why did you doubt? It's not an accusation. It's an invitation. An invitation to look at the root of his fear. Why did you doubt? Why did you let the storm become bigger in your eyes than the one who commands the storm? Jesus then helps Peter back into the boat, and the very second they are both back inside, the wind dies down. Who's like that? The sea becomes calm. The silence is as shocking as the previous noise. The other disciples, who just witnessed the whole unbelievable event, are left in stunned awe. They fall to their knees, their earlier fear replaced by a profound reverence. They finally get it. This isn't just a great teacher or a miracle worker. This is something more. So what does this ancient story have to do with your anxiety? Right here, right now. Everything. You might feel like you're in the boat, tossed around by a storm. You can't control the storm of anxious thoughts, of what-ifs, of worst-case scenarios. And sometimes, you might feel a call to step out of the boat, to face a fear, to take a risk. You take that step, and for a moment, you feel like you're walking on water. You're doing it. But then you look at the wind and the waves. You focus on the size of your anxiety, the intensity of your panic, the reality of your circumstances, and you start to sink. Peter's story tells us that sinking isn't failure. Sinking is human. The most important part of the story isn't that Peter walked on water, or even that he sank. It's what he did as he was sinking. He cried out for help. He didn't try to fix it himself. He didn't pretend he was okay. He reached out to the one he knew could save him, and the response was immediate. A hand reached out and pulled him up. Your anxiety is real. The storm is real. But the help available to you is even more real. You don't have to drown in your fear. When you feel yourself sinking, cry out. That might mean calling a friend, a therapist, or a crisis hotline. It might mean praying. It might just mean admitting to yourself that you're not okay and you need help. Peter's story is a powerful reminder that our focus determines our reality. When he focused on Jesus, he did the impossible. When he focused on the storm, he sank. When your anxiety screams for your attention, try to shift your focus, even for a second, to something true, something hopeful, something bigger than your fear. It's not about never feeling afraid. It's about what you do when you are. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this story resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more content that explores these ancient truths for our modern lives. Remember, you're not alone in the storm. Thanks for watching.